that's really important to do with your puppy is to get them used to being handled and groomed. So this makes it easier lifelong to groom them without it being stressful for you both. Also, if they go to the vet and they need their paws to be touched or their tail to be picked up, it's really important to do handling skills when they're a puppy to get them comfortable to it lifelong. Luckily, we have a dog washing station, which makes it easier. We're not hurting our back by bending over, and we keep the dog leashed up, so that way our hands are a little bit more free. We would suggest just getting your puppy used to getting in and out of the tub, and when they're in the tub, if that's what you're using, is just reward them with some of their food. So getting them to have positive associations with just being in the atmosphere that you're gonna be giving them a bath is really good, and then we'll start to add a little bit of water. So with the water, you want a medium temperature, obviously not too hot, too cold, and you want it at a softer speed to start off with. And I'll start feeding her too, so again, we have that positive association. So we'll go ahead and put the water on. Girl. Go ahead and have some food. And nice and gentle along their back. You want to make sure that you're not getting water into your dog's ear because that could cause some infections. So make sure that when you're washing your dog, you're being safe with where you're washing them. Good girl. And you can see she's really comfortable. We've been giving her baths since she was a puppy. If your dog is starting to freak out a little bit or this is too much for them, just put the hose on beside them and feed them. So if actually putting the hose on them is too much for them, just have it beside them and reward your dog for being next to the hose to begin with. So once you have your dog just a little bit wet, if they start to shake, a little trick of the trade here is if you just grab the back of their neck, not harsh, just touch it even, that will stop your dog from shaking and you getting sprayed with water everywhere. But if you build a little bit of distance from your dog at the end and they shake themselves out, it does help with the drying factor. But if you don't want them to shake, just put your hands on the back of that neck there and that will stop them from shaking. So the shampoo that we like to use, we were recommended by a groomer, is the Furminator De-Shedding Shampoo. If you have a breed that sheds, this helps out a little bit more with bringing out that undercoat. So you're just gonna rub it into your dog. We like to go down the back, the sides, just really get your dog nice and covered and clean. Yeah. So when you're doing this with your dog and they're being awesome like Amelia is, you can obviously every once in a while reward them with some food. So I'll even just have a little container and let them eat out of it, and then we'll pull it away. That way you're not contaminating with any soap and worrying if your dog's gonna ingest any of that. Good girl. Hose off. When you're hosing off the face, now that you've put some shampoo on your dog, you wanna be careful not to get any obviously in the eyes. So we'll just tilt up their head. Good girl, very good. Good girlie. Make sure that you keep the ears closed when you're hosing them down, so again, water doesn't get in the ear. So I don't have a go-to conditioner for a dog, but I do typically choose oatmeal-based conditioners. It's known to be better for their skin, so that's what we go with. If you do have a dog that's a white dog, they do sell whitening shampoo to keep your dog pearly white, helps them out. The Goldens, they don't need it because they're not white dogs, so we'll just stick to our normal shampoo and conditioner. So we'll towel off before we actually use the blow dryer to get as much excess water out as we can. So I'll just squeeze the ears. If you do have a puppy that's biting the towel, you don't want to start tugging back with it. Just make it dead. Keep it where it is. Don't keep moving it because that's going to activate your puppy to want to mouth it. So keep it dead. Redirect them with some food, reward, and then towel your dog again. This is obviously easier if you have a system. You can keep a leash attached to the spout of your tub, Obviously, make sure it can't just slide off. Or the same concept goes if you're using the outside hose on the knob itself, you can just attach your leash around that, or ask a family member for help, of course. But you want to just go ahead and get as much excess water as you can before you blow dry your dog. It does help if your dog shakes, but she don't want to shake off for us. So another tip for you guys is if you want to clean out your dog's ears, I learned this from a groomer I used to work for years ago, is you want to do 1 part apple cider vinegar, 2 to 3 parts water, so just dilute it, and that's what you'll use to clean out your dog's ears. Typically, the scariest part about being groomed for the dog is the blow dryer. We have a more heavy duty blow dryer. If you just have a normal blow dryer, what you want to first start off with is, again, the same thing we did with the hose to get them accustomed to it, is just have it blown off to the side while you reward your dog versus going full speed, burst off, and going right at them. Even if your dog likes to stick their head out of the car window, doesn't mean that they're going to like the blow dryer. So we're just going to put it on a low speed to start off with. She's doing good. I'm going to reward her.
Stressed at all, so I went in right away. If your dog is stressed, just by it being in the atmosphere, that might be the only session that you do to first start off with it. It's really important when you're first conditioning your dog to new sights and sounds is to keep your session short. Don't go super long to begin with and overstress your dog out to have a bad experience. So I'm going to keep it steady, and we'll start it up again. Girly.
If you have a dog that's a shedder, like a golden retriever, we do recommend purchasing a de-shedding brush. So your brush will have more parts away, and that way it will comb out any of that fur that's ready to just be released out. So the dead fur underneath, that clumps up. So it's really important to get that out so you don't have a fluffy, overly fluffy dog. So when you're blow drying your dog, you can use the brush at the same time for those layers. So even just getting your puppy used to being on a grooming table, because it's a little uncomfortable for them being up a little bit higher. Praising your puppy, you can work on this on a separate session. Rewarding your puppy often. Having a helper here, a helper arm, definitely is going to assist you with grooming your puppy. You just want to make sure that it's not too tight, that when they're standing up, it has that consistency going on. So I'm going to lower this down a little bit. Good girl. Yeah. I'm going to grab some more food, and now we're going to use a normal brush. I'm also going to just handle her feet. This is really important to get them used to being clipped, to being touched at the vet. This is all things that you should be doing at the puppy stage to ensure that you have a dog that's comfortable for the rest of their life. Feed your dog, brush, feed. If they go to the brush, keep it steady, don't move it. Wait till they look away, then start brushing it again. So you don't want to pull it away, especially if your puppy's mouthing it, because then it becomes this fun game to them. Doing that brushing might be too much for your puppy, so keep it there. Don't keep brushing. When your pup went back to that hand reward, then turn that brushing back on. So you can put it on a downstay mode, and that's what I used when I was working with Amelia. So when I was brushing her, it just kept dispensing food, so she has a positive association with the food. Good girl. So before you start actually clipping your dog's nails, it's important for them to remain calm just handling them. So just work on touching them. Good girl, very nice. And then rewarding your dog. When they're comfortably doing that, start off with one nail at a time. Clip a nail, reward your dog. You want to be very careful not to get the quick. So even if you just just a little bit off the top, and that way too, you're not gonna be nervous about cutting it incorrectly, and you're not gonna overwhelm your puppy by doing all 10 toes at the same time. And by 10, I mean 20. Two more things with a breed like a golden. Long term, you're gonna have to get used to touching their ear and clipping their ear because they're gonna get long hair beside them. So you can just start at this stage with your 2 fingers. So just act as if your fingertips are a pair of scissors, getting your puppy used and comfortable to that sensation, and then reward your dog, just like with everything else. Something else is they'll start to get hair at their toes here and also at their paw pads underneath. So get them used to being comfortable being touched underneath because you're gonna have a razor, an electric razor for them. And then 2, just again, same kind of drill, just handling their feet here. We're gonna wait a little bit longer to start introducing this to them. But as of right now, this is enough for Amelia. She's definitely tired after this experience, so she's gonna get a little bit of a crate rest before we work with her later on. What you can also do with your dog after grooming is do a quick play session. I would typically do that with her, but she's teething right now, just so that they associate with being groomed. That's something after it is fun. You could also do a training session, but like I said, right now, this is a lot of mental fatigue for them, so training's not necessarily the best thing. But later on down the road, once your dog is used to being groomed, you can definitely do a training session for food or for fun, or have them search for something, use their nose. Just after they groom, something fun happens after they groom, something fun happens after, so they'll start associating grooming with that fun activity too.